headquarters on the land on which we all gather today online. And pay my respects to the elders past, present and emerging. So tonight we've got Sarah Wood with us from headquarters. Sarah's been looking after the Sas project and helping everyone to get online and get going with it. If you've uploaded it already, you notice it's a good addition, a good backup system to our paging network. If you haven't, this will give you some more information on how to get on board, and if you're one of the Brigade administrators, how to administer your Brigade as well. So Sarah, if you're there, can you jump up and say hi?
Yeah, hi, thanks Michelle. I've had a little bit of technical difficulties, as is always the way when you're about to present, so you might need to just bear with me a little bit, but thank you very much for having me. Sure. So as Michelle mentioned, I am from headquarters, part of the Ops Comms team, and have been working primarily on the Supplementary Alerting Service, or Sas Application, since about May of this year. So I'm just going to try and share my screen with you all.
Working perfectly.
Perfect. All right. So sorry, bear with me. All right. So I can just hear. Okay, microphone's gone off. Perfect. All right, so just a few things to mention to get started. So firstly, just some key messages around Sas. So the EAS pages remain the primary means of alerting for all of our CFA members. So Sas has been developed to work in conjunction with the paging system and to provide some additional functionality, but it does not replace pages. So if you do carry a pager, you must continue to carry your pager. The second thing is that Sas is optional for use to members, and it's free to use. So it is available to all CFA members. The only thing that you will require is a compatible handset and a data connection. The other thing that you will need is credentials to log into members online. So if you don't already have those, you can register for them through the members online sign-in portal. There is a link there to do that. Next, Sas, although it has reporting functionalities, it's not intended as a reporting tool. It is a supplementary alerting service, so that is its primary intention. And hand in hand with that, headquarters or other I suppose brigades will not be reporting on attendance at incidents or anything of a similar nature via Sas. It is state-owned and governed, so the privacy policies have been written by VGSO. With the state government in mind. It is governed by all of the information privacy principles. So I'll just pause there for a second. As I go through, I'll stop quite frequently and just give people an opportunity to raise your hands if you have any questions. So this is the first of those. Just pause and see if anyone's got any questions. Easy. All right, nothing so far. Oh, and my presentation seems to have just gone backwards. Right. Okay, so the next slide we have here are just about some of the resources that we currently have available to assist with all of our members to use Sas. So the first and by far most comprehensive is through Members Online. So I will just bring Members Online up quickly for you, and hopefully that'll work pretty quickly. Okay, so to access the Sas page on Members Online, you can either just search for Sas under the search function here, or navigate through Fire and Emergencies, Operational Communications, and then to Supplementary Alerting Service. So you'll find a bit of background information around the application here. Some information about the developers and the tendering process was on this landing page, and also some additional information under the General Frequently Asked Questions tab here. Now, the majority of the information that will probably be of assistance to you can be found under the Application Frequently Asked Questions. Now, these are updated as required. We currently have over 50 questions and answers in here, and it does hold a lot of information. So if you do have any questions whatsoever, I would strongly encourage you to jump in there first, and hopefully you can find what you're after. We also have a documents and links section, which provides some user guides, all sorts of instruction manuals, and that will also be updated as more information becomes available. Now, the next tab here actually leads into the second resource that I'm going to mention, which is the Sas Help Form. So by clicking into this link, it will direct you through to the Sas Help Form, where you'll be able to navigate through to the more pertinent frequently asked questions for your particular inquiry. There's also pathways to submitting information through to the Sas Help Desk for assistance. So, for example, if you wanted a brigade or a station login to display the Sas dashboard at your brigade, you would just simply click through the relevant options here and click into I need a new login for my brigade or station. That will prompt you to input all of the details we require to assist you with that request. And by clicking submit here, that inquiry will come through to the Sas Help Desk. Okay, so the next resource we have is the Sas Help Desk, which can be accessed by emailing sas.help@cfa.vic.gov.au, where a member of our team can assist. Now, just keeping in mind that there is a bit of a backlog at the moment with some of the emails coming through, so please do be a little bit patient in waiting for a response. If you do have an urgent inquiry, please mark it as urgent, and we will try to get to it as soon as we can. And the final option, as Michelle has done tonight, is to request a Teams meeting with myself or a member of the project team, where we can either troubleshoot an issue that you may be having, provide some further training, or otherwise assist. So again, I'll just pause there and see if there are any questions. Excellent. Okay. In that case, I will now show you through a video on how to log into Sas for the first time. So bear with me, I didn't get an opportunity to open this beforehand. I just had to swap computers as I jumped on. So hopefully this will open pretty quickly. Okay. So the first thing I'll mention here is that this login screen has recently changed. So rather than being presented with this agency login or the Sas login options, you are now presented with the agency login option only, and there will be a link down below if you need to log into the Sas login portal. And I'll explain the difference between those a little bit later. So To download the Sas application, you simply search Supplementary Alerting Service in the App Store for Apple users or in the Play Store for Android users, or it can be accessed via your web browser at sas.em.vic.gov.au. So, as I mentioned, we will click Agency Login, and then we will click the CFA logo to log in as a CFA member. From here, you'll be redirected into the CFA sign-in portal. So you here will enter your CFA credentials, which would be the same details you use to sign into members online. And then you'll click sign in. At which point you'll be returned to the Sas application. Now, if you're a member of multiple agencies, at this point you can elect to link your other accounts, or you can simply click Finish and return to Sas. You will now be presented with the terms of use and the privacy statement. Now, I encourage you to please take your time to read through those, as you must agree to all and accept them to be able to proceed through to the application. So once you've checked all those boxes and clicked Accept, you'll be prompted to enter your pager number or your ASN. Now, if you don't have a pager, that's not a problem. You can simply click Skip Adding down here, and I will talk you through the process of receiving EAS messages through Sas shortly as well. So once you've entered your ASN, if you have one, you just click Link Pager. You'll then be prompted to allow access to Sas to see the device's location. Now, this is personal preference, but allowing Sas to access your device's location will enable functionalities such as ETA calculations and one-touch navigation. And as I mentioned before, if you require further information on any of that, you can visit members online or email sashelp@cfa.vic.gov.au. So again, I'll just quickly pause. No questions. Okay, you guys are making it a bit easy for me, so that's fine.
Sarah, I'll remind everyone that they can also type questions into the chat if they want, and I can read them out as they pop up.
Excellent. All right, well, for the time being, we'll move on. So I'll just show you through what the Sas system actually looks like. So I'm just going to log in here. So this is the new login screen that you just saw briefly there. Okay. So when you first log into Sas, you'll be presented with the home screen. So the home screen is essentially a list of all EAS messages that you would have received for your applicable paging groups within the past 24 hours. So as you can see here, I've got 3 messages, 2 emergency messages and 1 admin message that have that are fully coloured on the left-hand side. Now these events are current and active. Events remain active for the first 3 hours, and after which they become inactive, as is the case with these ones down at the bottom here. So once an event has become inactive, you're no longer able to respond to it. However, a member of a Brigade management team or group management team can reactivate an event if need be, an emergency or a non-emergency event. So to respond to an event, all you need to do is click on Respond over the side and indicate whether or not you will be attending. So as you can see, we've got 3 options here. We've got attending, other, and unavailable. So if I mark myself as attending here, you can see there also that it shows where I'm going to be attending to. So if I'm going to be attending directly to the event, or I have the option to change it to station here. So I'm also presented with the original pager message. I can see a list of all of the responding members, and I can also see a map of where the event is. And if I had location tracking turned on, I could also see my own position in relation to the event. So I'm just going to modify my status here because I'm actually not a member of this brigade and I don't want them to think that I'm going to turn up. You can also view responding members on a map and see how far away they are. So as you can see here, Stuart Bell has arrived at the event. So I will just quickly pause there, Michelle.
Yep, so I've got a couple of questions that have come up in the chat. Ian asks, he's got a black screen, not a white one, like on your screen. Is that normal, and can I change that background colour?
Yeah, okay, so that is normal. That may be as a result of your settings. So in settings page here, you've got the display options. So if this is what your screen looks like, it may be that. If you want it to look the same as your device, so if your device default is black, then you can just click device default and it would be black, or you can override that with the dark or light here.
Cool. And I've got one from Alan. Can one person have SAS loaded onto two devices, for example, a phone and a tablet?
Yes, you absolutely can. So at the moment, CFA members are able to load SAS on up to 10 different devices.
Cool. And one from Paul. Can you quickly go over how you log in again?
Yeah, not a problem. So there's actually the video that I showed at the start is available from members online. So I would direct you back to that resource to have a look. But essentially, you just simply need to download the application, or I've seen you respond there. Download the application or navigate to sas.em.vic.gov.au and follow the prompts and log in with your CFA credentials.
And Andy Donnellan's got one. He's forgotten his password. He's clicked the link for the forgot my password, but nothing happens.
Okay, so I would... Okay, so you're using the SAS login method, is that right, Andy? Rather than the agency? Yep, okay. So that will be your issue. You need to use the agency login method to log in as a CFA member. And if that doesn't work for you, I'm happy to take that offline and help you further. Okay, so the next, okay, not a problem, Andy, thank you. So the next tab we have across here is the chat tab. So the chat tab will enable you to chat with members of your paging groups one-on-one or with the entire paging group. So just one caveat is that the one-to-one chat has been restricted for members who are under 18 years of age, in keeping with the child safe standards. So you will not be able to send or receive one-to-one chat messages if you are under 18 years of age. So this screen is pretty self-explanatory. You can create a new chat, reply to chats. You will only receive a push notification for the first chat in a series, however, at this stage. Okay, I can see there's one more question popped up. What level of access is required to get the admin tab to set up a Brigade login? Okay, so I'll cover that off shortly, Justin, but essentially you would need to be a member of a BMT or GMT to be a BASO or a commander to get the admin tab.
We had a hand up from Matt Flack. Matt, are you there? No, and Kevin. No, they've both backed out. Keep going, Sarah.
Not a problem. Okay, so now we're looking at the settings tab here. So within the settings tab, the first thing you might notice if you have played with the application before on a handheld device is that I don't have any notification settings. That's because I'm on a desktop. And so I don't get push notifications via my PC. However, you will be able to update your notification settings on a handheld device. So from the settings tab, I can link an additional account if I was a dual agency member. I can also, if I expand this little button here next to the CFA logo, I can change my navigation default preferences so I can navigate directly to an event or to my station. I can also toggle on and off various paging groups that I may or may not want to receive push notifications and EAS messages for, just by simply ticking or unticking those here and clicking save. Now, one thing to note, and I'm not sure that I have any in my list at the moment, but if the paging group name is grayed out, then that function has been overridden by a paging group owner and you won't be able to toggle that off. You can also select dynamic paging groups down here to turn on or off. If you have updated your ASN or you did not put an ASN in when we first logged in, you can update that here. We've got a whole heap of configuration options. So you've got initial mapping layer that you can change, as we were talking about before, your display options. So you can choose between dark, light, and device default. So the edit password option is only available for Brigade or station logins. It's not available to CFA members. If you need to update your password, you need to do that through the members online portal. And you can also view your qualifications and review the terms of use via the settings tab. We can also set our availability for turnouts. We can set that on a recurring basis. We can set multiple availabilities for each day, and we can set it depending on the type of turnout. For example, if I wanted to set it for Friday, I just simply click add. I'm going to be available all day on Friday, and you know what? I'm actually going to be available all day every Friday. You can only update this for up to 3 months in the future. And the intent of that is to make sure that we are always keeping our availabilities up to date and not just forgetting about them. So as you can see here, we've got multiple deployment options. So on Fridays, you know what, I don't need to work over the weekend. If I need to go interstate, I can do that. So I'm going to select local and interstate and select availability. And you can see here that that's now been updated. And you also have a month view to be able to see your availabilities there. So I'll just pause there again. Questions? Okay, so I'm changing Brigades and we'll get a new pager. How do I change the pager number after I've already logged in? Yep, that's just been answered. What are the qualification links to? Who enters this info? So the qualification data is fed directly from LMS. There are, so not all qualifications flow through to the Sas application. Sorry, just a second. Jaden. Sorry. Not all of the qualifications that you may hold in LMS flow through to Sas, and there are 2 qualifications, namely crew leadership and drive vehicles under operational conditions. that require endorsement via the online endorsement tool before they will show in Sas, and I will take you through that in a little while as well. And yes, Mark, working from home has been brilliant. It's lots of fun. So Matt, I can see that your hand is up again. I'll just give you a moment. Matt Flack, are you there?
Might have pressed that one by accident. We'll keep going.
That's okay. Okay, so the next tab along is the availability tab. Now, this tab is only accessible by members of a BMT or GMT, or by the agency admins, which is the Ops Comms team out of headquarters. So paging group owners, anyone who is a member of a BMT or a GMT, you will automatically be assigned what we call paging group owner access, and you'll be able to see the availability tab. So that just essentially enables you to be able to see the availability of your brigade. So I'm just going to bring up Sylvan because I know that they've been using this. So as you can see here, you can see that for today, they have set an availability threshold of having 2 members required to be available at all times for turnouts. So you can see by this green icon here that that threshold has been met. Now, if I skip forward to next Thursday on the 12th and select any time period in here, I can see that the threshold has not been met as indicated by the white square with the cross, and I can also see what we're missing in order to meet that criteria. So this is just a really quick and easy way to see if we have the required members who have set their availability. You can also view your availability of your brigades by qualification. So if I wanted to check that we have a member available, and sorry, it's just reverted to Kinglake again, but I'm just going to bring up Sylvan. So I wanted to check if a member is available who has the crew leadership endorsement. I can do that. So I can see on the 12th, I don't have a member available that has crew leadership. So I might need to call around my brigade and get somebody in there to put in their availability. I can also search by type, so that's short haul, long haul, interstate deployment, or IMT availability. And if I was a paging group owner for multiple paging groups, I could also use the multi-group overview tab here to very quickly view the availability of all of my paging groups. Okay, so the next tab across that we have is the dashboard tab. Now, the dashboard tab is only available when viewing Sas through a web browser or on an iPad in landscape mode. So the intent of the dashboard is to be used as a screen at a brigade or station, essentially. So it's a quick overview of what's happening in your area at any time. This is updated automatically every 30 seconds, and we can click into various messages here to see some further information, including who is responding and their ETA if they haven't already proceeded to either the station or the event. From here, so we also have the option to hide the menu there so that it's a little bit cleaner. We can also see the availability at a glance of our members, and we also have the ability to generate reports from the screen. Okay, I can just see Andy is the HTTP view that Sarah is using and the phone app the same. Yeah, so with the dashboard view, that's not available on a phone. It's only available via the web browser or an iPad in landscape mode. Aside from that, everything else remains the same. Obviously, it would be different format, but yes, it is all the same functionality. So the next item across that we have here is the pager history view. So this just gives us a listing of all of the EAS messages that we've received for our applicable paging groups since we logged into the app, essentially. So this just continues scrolling for as long as needed, and you can review whether or not you attended an event, who responded, and information like that if you need to. So the next tab we have along is the admin tab. Now this tab is accessible to paging group owners, to global managers, and to agency admins. This screen will display slightly differently depending on what your permissions are set to. So from the admin screen, we can search for members, we can create a brigade or a station login, we can set things like thresholds for turnouts, we can change the text for the other response type, and things like that. So I'll pause there because I am actually going to dive a little bit deeper into this admin screen in a moment, but I'll just check if anybody has any questions.
Looks like you're doing well so far, Sarah.
Silence is golden. All right. So the next thing I want to take you guys through is assisting a member without a pager. So losing my words a little bit. Any district BASO commander, a member of a BMT or GMT can assist with this, as can the Ops Comms team out of headquarters. So a few things to note. Firstly, the member must have already logged into the application successfully and accepted the terms of use to be searchable within Sas. It's important that the member that you're going to add to a paging group is entitled to receive those paging group messages. So you can verify that in RMS if you need to. If obviously you're a captain of a brigade or a member of the BMT and you know that that person is a member of your brigade, you can add them. So I'll quickly take you through the process. There is a document available online called Manually Adding Paging Groups. It's probably a little bit mistitled because we're actually manually adding a member to a paging group, but I will take you through that process now. So essentially all we're going to do here is we're going to search for an applicable paging group. So I will pluck something out of the air. So I'm going to search for Kyneton, now I can't say it, and I'm going to select Kyneton Brigade All and click into the member list option here. So all I need to do is click add a new member and search for the member I wish to add. So I'm just going to add myself, and then we just click the plus sign here. Now, as you can see, I will now be listed down here at the bottom of the member list. And it's as simple as that. So that's how you add a member without a pager. Now you can also do additional things here by clicking the 3 vertical dots. So for example, if I were to step up into a BMT role, For this brigade, I might temporarily be assigned paging group owner access. It's as simple as clicking the dots and checking the set as group owner checkbox there. And you can see that now I've been assigned paging group owner permissions. So now I'm no longer supporting this brigade. I can remove myself from here. So I can click the 3 dots and click remove from group. So that is how to assist a member without a pager. Any questions on that one?
There's just one from Caroline. She's said you said this can generate reports. Can you add these to these reports relevant information for your FERS report? So what are the reports that you can run?
So I am not familiar with the information, the specific information that you need for a FERS report. So you would need to look through that functionality to see if it's going to meet your requirements. However, as I mentioned at the start, SAS isn't intended for use as to replace any of our current reporting functionality, such as the FERS reporting system. Okay, anything else? Sorry, just a second. Okay, sorry. Any other questions? No? Okay, excellent. So the next item I will take you through is how to set up a brigade or a station login. So this is primarily for the district BASOs, but it is handy for you guys probably to know the process and to know why we are asking the information that we are asking for. So to set up a brigade or a station login, the information we require is a valid email address, which is used as a username and to send a randomly generated password to. Now, this email address cannot be an @members.cfa.vic.gov.au or an @cfa.vic.gov.au email address. The reason for that is that those addresses are reserved for you to log into your individual SAS accounts. The next piece of information we require is the brigade name. The brigade location, which more often than not is the same as the brigade name. So we don't need a specific address point, just the town or suburb, and which paging groups you require access to. So do you require access to only the brigade all paging group, or you would also like the brigade BMT paging group? Now, as I alluded to earlier, the Sas Help Form is available to all members as well to retrieve that information for the SAS team. So again, this is all done through the admin tab. So the first thing I would do is to search for the brigade that is requesting a brigade login. So again, using Kyneton as an example, I would simply perform a search. Now, as we saw before, this has brought up 4 results under the paging group section, but under the members section, which is what we're interested in for this purpose, we don't have any results. So that indicates to me that a SAS login has not already been created for this brigade, which is what we want to see. So there should only be 1 SAS login per brigade. And as I mentioned earlier, up to 10 devices can be logged in at the same time for each account. So that should be more than sufficient for a station or a brigade purposes. So to create the brigade, we just simply fill in the form here. So under the first name field, we would put the brigade name. Last name, we would put Fire Brigade, and the email might be something like kyneton@firebrigadeemail.com. The location would again be Kyneton. I can't say it now, sorry. And I would simply select CFA. So we're only allowing access to the CFA site for SAS. And then I would just click add. I'm not going to do that now because obviously that's a dummy email and this hasn't been requested. But it's as simple as that. Once you've clicked add, you will see a green message, a message pop up in green text saying that the account has been created and the password has been emailed to the user. So once that's happened, then all we need is for the recipient of that email to go in, access the newly created SAS account, and we can then go in and follow the process I showed earlier to add that new account to the required paging groups. Any questions on that one? Okay. Easy. And again, information on doing that is available from members online, so we do have a guide there to do that. So the next item I will take you through is the online endorsement tool. So this has been developed essentially as a gateway between LMS and SAS for both the crew, leadership and drive vehicles under operational conditions competencies. So as you'll be aware, certain competencies within CFA require operational endorsement. So simply holding the competency doesn't necessarily enable you to perform those tasks on the fireground. Through a consultative process with volunteer members, career staff and VFBV, it was determined that these two competencies in particular would be most valuable in having been endorsed before they are shown in SAS. So in order to endorse to access this tool, you must either be a captain of a brigade, a district basso or commander, or again, a member of the Ops Comms team out of headquarters. And the only reason the Ops Comms team has access is to assist the districts as needed. So I'm just going to flick back over here to my internet page, and hopefully this is going to load for me. It's probably not. Okay. Bear with me because we do have links here. Hopefully that will work. No. Okay. It's going to make a liar out of me today. All right, so essentially all it is just a simple listing by brigade of all of the members and the applicable qualifications out of LMS. And all an operational member is required to do is to simply place a tick against the members that they would wish to endorse for those particular skill sets. So a couple of things to note. Firstly is that the crew leader endorsement requires members to hold both crew leadership and suppress wildfire competencies. If a member does not hold those two competencies, they are not eligible for endorsement via this tool. The driver endorsement is slightly different. So a member does not necessarily need to hold any competency in LMS for drive vehicles under operational conditions in order to be endorsed via this tool for that driver qualification to be shown in SAS. Obviously, district processes must still be adhered to. So, for example, if the crew leadership endorsement requires escalation up through to the ACFO, that must still occur. All right, so that's in a nutshell, without being able to take you through it, the endorsement tool. Any questions on that one?
Very quiet group for you tonight, Sarah.
I know, I'm very impressed. Okay. Well, we're getting through this very quickly then. All right, so the next screen I've got is around some frequently asked questions. So the first of those is, oh, sorry, we've got Matt's hand back up again.
Matt, you can unmute if you like.
Hello.
There we go.
I'm a crew leader.
Mm-hmm.
I have been endorsed by Mike Wassing, and it took me 16 months to get through this. I'm endorsed, so anyone can just go online and just tick someone, can they? So
yeah,
So you're saying anyone can go online and just tick someone to be an endorsed crew leader without doing the training?
No. So for crew leadership, in particular, you must hold both the crew leadership competency and suppress wildfire competency.
Yes.
And
Instead of saying the word crew leader or driver, it should start off being endorsed crew leader, endorsed driver. Then you know when you're hitting the ground running to go to a fire, you know you have an endorsed crew leader and an endorsed driver, not just a crew leader and not just a driver. They are endorsed. The word endorsed should be enforced.
Matt, what we might do is have a chat about that at brigade level for you, because I understand that what you may have done in the past is different to what many other brigades do. Sarah, for your information, Matt's a member at Bendigo, so they've just deintegrated. So things are a little bit different for the deintegrated brigades than they are for some of the others. So Matt, we might have a chat about this at BMT level at Bendigo.
But why shouldn't it be statewide? That's for everyone in the CFA, like statewide. So if I went up to Echuca or someone went to Bendigo, like from Echuca, for argument's sake, they know who we're getting.
Yep, so there are different types of endorsement. So we'll have to have a chat about that offline.
Rightio. Thanks.
All right. Yeah, thank you for the feedback. And yeah, as Michelle said, I'm happy to take that on. And once you guys have chatted offline, I'm happy to receive further feedback on that as well. I've got a question here from Damien. If I add availability on iPhone app, how long until it updates on the desktop? So it should be pretty instantaneous, Damien. There may be a lag of a couple of minutes, but it should be pretty much instantaneous. I believe. I might just pause and see if either Josh, Aaron or Tash are on, if they can just corroborate what I just said. I think it's instantaneous.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Good. I thought I was on double mute. What was the question? Go back to me.
Sorry. So if we add availability on iPhone app, how long does it until it updates on desktop?
Straight away.
Yeah, I thought it was. So yeah, it's pretty instantaneous. Thanks, Tash.
No worries.
All right, Trevor, will the Sas IMT availability function replace the IMT availability tool on the CFA site? So no, not at all at the moment. This system is intended as a supplementary alerting service. So there is peripheral functionality here that we believe will be beneficial to our brigades. However, it doesn't intend to replace any of those systems, any of those CFA systems that are currently in operation. Any other questions? Thank you, Mark, for the elephant in the room. Chris has said, with qualifications other than driver and crew leader, example BA, etc., will they automatically all populate into the member once account is set up? Only the endorsed ones need to say captain, etc. confirmation. Yeah, so that's correct. At the moment, and there is a listing of all of the qualifications that we're showing in Sas on Members Online. So with all of the other qualifications, they automatically populate through into Sas. Now, internal BA at this stage is linked to the respond to urban structure, fire. What is that competency? Something similar. I'm sure you all know what I'm trying to get at there. So they have been renamed for the purposes of shortening down, I suppose, the displays there. And you can view what the original competency, the full competency name was, and also what it's displayed in Sas via that table on Members Online as well. Yes. So, right. Okay, Mark, the question, should brigades using BART transition to Sas as a priority? Now, yes, you're right. This is an elephant in the room. As I'm sure you will be aware, the various third-party apps currently used throughout the field are not endorsed for use by CFA for CFA members. At this stage, we can't provide advice on what individual brigades or districts are doing. However, I can say that Sas is the only application endorsed for use by CFA members. It does have the additional benefits in that it is free to use. The data is secure and it is governed by the state government and it is owned by EMV. Any other questions? From Trevor, will other endorsements or role accreditation, i.e. strike team leader, which would be of value to groups, be included? So yes, Trevor, there was discussion around that, and we are happy to take any of that feedback on board. So the endorsement tool has been created by CFA's ICT team and can be configurable down the line. So if you do have any feedback about what you may find valuable, feel free to send an email through to the Sas Help Desk. We will log it and we will be reviewing that as appropriate. Damien, will this be further discussed upstream moving forward? Are you able to just provide a little bit of context of what we're talking about being discussed? Feel free to take yourself off mute as well if you wanted to. Oh, okay. So yeah, but there will be further communications coming out as we are aware of any changes. So you won't be left in the dark. Anything will absolutely be communicated out to the broader organisation. Okay, any further questions? How often would the Sas app get updated? Okay, so currently, Andy, we are in release 2 of Sas. It was only released on the 14th of September. I believe we updated it a week or 2 ago. So I think that was about a 6-week turnaround for release 2. We are expecting another release in mid to late November. I would err on the side of probably late November at this stage, and potentially another release between February and March of next year. That information is on Members Online as well, and it will continue to be updated intermittently. Does the app auto update? So it depends on what changes have been made. For example, there were some discussions around a forced update for release 2. We were able to bypass that. However, I can't guarantee that there may not be a forced update for future releases, but that will all be communicated out to the members. At the moment, I believe you actually need to download the update to get to release 2. Tom, is the app still open for further improvements in functionality into the future? Yeah, absolutely it is. Obviously this application has been developed for CFA, SES and Ambulance Victoria by EMV. So we need to consult with all 3 agencies and come to an agreement on any updates or any changes in functionality, but we are more than happy to take suggestions on board and advocate for CFA's interests in that respect. Alan, when we get an alert, Sas on my phone usually goes off before my pager, which is then followed by BART. Yeah, so that's been some pretty consistent feedback that we've had from the field. So we did find that during testing, and we are quite pleased that that's continued on into the production environment. So we've found that quite often it can go off about 5 to 10 seconds ahead of a pager, which is really great. Michael, where can you locate what version of the app you have? Yep, so you can locate that on the settings page. Now, that's only been put in from release 2. So I'll just jump back into the Sas app to show you here. So if you go into settings and then scroll down under the profile tab here, down the bottom, you can see your Sas version number. Now, if this is not displayed here, you are likely on release 1. So that version number was introduced in release 2. So if you can't see that, it might be an idea just to go in and update the app. From Greg, how often does the LMS sync with Sas? So that happens daily. So that feed comes through every 24 hours. Tash has mentioned, yep, Sas will usually receive alerts before BART because of the way the feed comes through as it's sent directly from CAD. So that's correct. BART uses an off-air decoder, so it actually needs to wait for the feed to come out of EAS and through CAD, whereas Sas actually has a direct feed. Michelle?
Yeah, so I'm just Andy Donnellan put one up a little further back. Are we able to monitor other brigades' turnout messages?
Oh, okay. So it depends what the purposes are for that. So the short answer is yes. The longer answer is with permission. So there is a process that you need to follow, and I can talk you through that a little bit further offline. So yeah, short answer, yes. Longer answer, contact the Sas Help Desk for further information. Is SAS 2.0.7 the latest version of SAS? Yes, it is. Greg, does the app auto update? So we covered that off a little bit earlier, Greg. This release hasn't auto updated. I believe you need to just go in and grab the update. But for future releases, there may be a forced update. It just depends on what functionality changes are being made. Okay, so I might just flick back. Oh no, we've gotten going now. Excellent. Okay, Chris, is there an easy quick link to a CFA dispatch district radio stream? So no, at the present stage through SAS there isn't. That has been raised as suggested future functionality. So it has been logged, but if that's something you're interested, I would encourage you to send through an email, as obviously the more requests we get about a particular function, the higher the weighting we will attribute to it when we're advocating for future changes. Ian, if you have a power outage all throughout Victoria, will that affect SAS, and do you have a backup? Yeah, so if the EAS networks go down in Victoria, we do have a backup in New South Wales, and the changeover is pretty much instantaneous. I think we were about 7 seconds or so at the last test. From memory. Don't quote me on that, but I believe it was around 7 seconds to change over to New South Wales. Peter, I'm a DGO. Can group officers, DGOs, get all group messages for turnouts? So if you have all of the group messages on your current pager, you will get them all through SAS. If you're not receiving them on your current pager, we can add you to all of the required paging groups, but it may require a bit of a permission, a bit of an approvals process.
Yeah, Peter, I'm happy to do that for you. I can verify Pete's identity. So I'm actually on in the background now. I'll have a look at it once we're finished here.
Excellent. Thanks, Michelle. Okay, anything else before I jump back into the presentation? Okay, so we might have answered a couple of these just in that little chat there, but I'll jump through them anyway. So the first is, why aren't my qualifications showing? So these are some of the frequently asked questions that we've been receiving through the Sas Help Desk since we went into production. So qualifications can take up to 24 hours to show from LMS, as I mentioned earlier. And in addition to that, if the crew leadership or drive vehicles under operational conditions competencies haven't been endorsed via the online endorsement tool, they won't display in SAS. So if you're looking for either of those qualifications and you believe you should have them, you'll need to speak to your captain or district around that. The next is, I'm in the BMT, why am I not a paging group owner? So it can take, again, up to 24 hours from initial login to SAS to be assigned those paging group owner permissions. Now, this is run daily as a script at the moment. So if you have recently become a member of a BMT, it may not have been picked up in the script, as the file we're running is from, I believe, the Friday before we went live, which would have been the 11th or 12th of September. So I showed you through the process earlier of manually assigning those positions, and that can be done by any member of a BMT or by your district BASO or commander, if needed. Additionally, a couple of the roles seemingly haven't been picked up necessarily via export. So for the majority, I think the comms officer positions have been picked up, but we are aware that there are a couple that have fallen through the cracks. cracks. So if it has been more than 24 hours, I would encourage you just to contact a member of your BMT and get them to manually assign it. The next is, I made a change in Viper. Why can't I see it in Sas? So Viper is our single source of truth for all of our paging data. So when you have a paging group or a cap code added to your pager, that's done through Viper. Currently, the export from Viper is done weekly, and then the subsequent import into Sas is done dependent on various factors on a Saturday morning. So it can take up to 7 days for those changes to show. That will become more frequent, so it will become daily. In the near future, I don't currently have an ETA on when that change will be made, but at the moment it is up to 7 days. So, for example, if you've changed over a pager at district, you may not be able to input your new ASN into the application for up to 7 days. So that's one of the implications there. The next is I'm seeing old paging groups in Sas. So there's a couple of issues here. The first is that obviously if a change has been made in Viper within the past 7 days, that won't have flowed through to the Sas app yet. The second is that occasionally when paging groups are removed from a pager, rather than being properly removed, they are actually omitted. So if that's the case, and this is something that district can check for you, if that's the case, then district will need to submit an EAS MAC form to rectify that in Viper. And the next one is, can you help me reset my password? So resetting password for all CFA members must be done through the members online login portal. There is a link when you go into log into members online to reset your password. And if you do have any issues with that, you need to contact CFA's ICT team or your district to assist. However, if you have a Brigade or a station login and you need a password reset for that, you can contact the Sas Help Desk and we can assist with that. So your district won't be able to reset your password. However, the Sas Help Desk will. So again, just pause quickly to see if you've got any questions regarding any of those. Okay, so the next slide we have here, and I apologise, I haven't quite updated it, is around the next releases. So release 2 is currently live, and that has resolved some logout issues that we were experiencing. So if you are experiencing intermittent logouts of the application, please ensure that you've updated to the most current release, because that should resolve it. If not, and you can, and you're certain that you have updated, then please contact the Sas Help Desk and we can escalate that for you. The next release is expected mid to late November. That will be some smaller changes, primarily around fixing some bugs and similar issues at the moment. However, there will be a slightly more robust, sorry, got a dog and a child running past me. That will be a slightly more robust release, and that's expected in February or March of next year at this stage. There is a spreadsheet available from members online that outlines what's expected in each release, and it also lists any workarounds where we are aware of them. So if there is a bug in the system and there is a temporary workaround, you should find it in that spreadsheet. Okay, so just checking the comments here. Jay Gardner, I do have robust bugs at home. I've got many of them. Mark, a problem in the past has been huge delays in delivery of pager messages in major fire events. Any idea if the SAS will experience the same delays as the pager service? Okay, so obviously we haven't had SAS deployed over a major fire season as yet. There has been a lot of testing, a lot of, what did we call it? Sorry, I'm looking at some of the other SAS project members here. Is it capability testing? Essentially, they basically threw huge amounts of data at the system to ensure that it wouldn't impede the functionality of it. However, in saying that, there is no SLA with SAS, so they are not obligated to deliver messages in a set period of time, such as the case with the EAS paging system, which is why this system remains supplementary. So hopefully, no, there won't be significant delays. However, if the paging network is experiencing significant delays, SAS does retrieve the messages directly from that network. So it probably would flow on. There you go. Aaron's mentioned capacity testing was conducted, which was tested to levels greater than major fire days. So it's probably a short answer there. Any other questions? Mark said, thanks, Sarah and Aaron, sounds rather encouraging. So we hope so. We hope it will stand the test of time. So my next slide is just to open the floor to questions. So if there's anything burning that you have been waiting to ask, now's your opportunity, I suppose.
Just wondering if I could ask, I've just noticed that lately, since I've been using SAS, my SAS goes off before even my pager goes off. So I thought normally the pager goes off and the SAS goes, but now recently the SAS goes off, and I look at the pager, then suddenly the pager goes off after. That normal too, is it?
Yeah, look, we have had reports of that pretty consistently. As I mentioned, there is no SLA though, so we can't rely on that. But yeah, we have had lots of reports of it going up to 5 to 10 seconds earlier than a pager message. Michael?
Just wondering, are they looking at making 2 separate systems for FVR and CFA? Is one going to overtake the paging system, or are they going to just be in conjunction?
Yeah, so sorry, I missed the other system that you were talking about there. Did you say?
Are they looking at separating the two out, like?
Oh, the EAS and the supplementary? No, so not at this stage. EAS does remain our primary means of alerting, so the pager system does, and this is supplementary and will remain so. And Mark has mentioned pagers are frighteningly old tech. Yeah, look, I was shocked when I joined CFA and learned that we use pagers. Thought I'd been transported a bit back in time, but they are, I can't remember the reasoning. There is a reason that we are still using pagers. They are more reliable, I believe, than any other system at this stage. So Adam has said, is there a plan to develop an in-station platform with printing capability? So the dashboard display has been developed with the intention of being used as a station display. We are aware that it is currently lacking that printing functionality. So again, that is something that has been flagged for potential future functionality. But if that is something that would be of value, please do send an email through to the Sas Help Desk. As I said, all of the functionality will be weighted based on how much feedback we're getting around it. Greg has commented, awesome work, you exceeded expectations. Thank you very much, Greg. That's a very welcome comment, and I'm sure the team will very much appreciate that. Adam, pages have quality of service. Yes, and there are SLAs that go along with that as well. And Sharon has mentioned pages are guaranteed. Tom, any news on pager replacements? So yeah, I know that there's been some progress made in that space, but I have been out of that project for a little while, so I would encourage you to reach out to the Ops Comms team around that. Caroline, lots of low mobile phone coverage in our district, pages seem to work. So yeah, that's correct. Andy, can you please send the link to the YouTube link once this meeting is finished? So I think that's one for you, Michelle.
Yep, so that'll be out in next week's invitation. So that'll come out Monday or Tuesday.
There you go. And just a comment from Tash around the use of pages. Because of the unique terrain in Victoria and the location of the towers, pages work where other technology may not. All right, and just a comment from Andy. So you're welcome. Anything else?
Sarah, I think we might wrap it up there. If there are any other questions, feel free to stay online. And people can turn their videos or mics on and have a chat. But I'd like to say thank you so much for coming on, especially during the evening. It's really good to be able to have this directly to our members rather than through our BASO team. So thank you so much. You've got lots more knowledge than we do. I think the BASO team, I'll speak for all of us, is still getting used to the system. So if you do have questions, we will attempt to answer them. If we can't do it, we'll send you off to Sarah, and I'm sure she'll be able to help. So
yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, thank